all of the ninja champions in League of Legends are just cool. Most of the ninja champions in League are just cool, and our Eye of the Twilight Shen is no different. But Shen, heavily played in the top lane, can shine in another role: support. A small percentage of the player base has come to realize that Shen can hold his own as support, but only 10% of the time that Shen is picked, you will see him as a support, meaning on average you may see a Shen support 1 in every 200 games. But there's one Korean player who's been found by Workman on the Discord server who's been playing Shen support for years now, and we're going to analyze him to see how he's performed so well on it for the past couple of seasons. The player we're analyzing today is known as what translates to the link connecting Shen and me, which of course could be wrong, so Korean subscribers, please correct me in the comments if so. Since Shen's been around for so long, he's had some time to play games as the champion, and boy has he played. Since Season 4, when he first picked up Shen, he has played over 4,000 ranked games as him. In his first season, he was testing the waters as Shen, and he completed 90 games and ended with almost a 9 KDA, finishing the season in the top of gold. In Seasons 5 through 7, he continued to main Shen, but stuck to the top lane, and while he did finally reach Diamond in Season 7, he always was happy to fill as support, mostly playing Thresh, Nami, and Rakan as his go-tos. And after playing support so often, and Shen's rework in Season 6, he began to theorycraft if Shen could truly work as a support. And it wasn't until Season 8 that he finally put his theories to the test and fully committed to support Shen. After doing so, he was able to break into Master, where he also finished in Seasons 9 and 10. Now, in Season 11, he's played over 900 games this year alone on Shen, mostly as support, with a 52% win rate, where he has broken to Grandmaster, and he continues to climb higher and higher to this day. While Shen likes to hide in the shadows, no champion can escape us talking about their weaknesses first. Like our other melee top lanes turned support, Shen is susceptible to being easily poked down with his short range. Additionally, many of his abilities have relatively long cooldowns, meaning less engages and a longer window for your enemies to retaliate. Your ultimate, while extremely valuable, can leave your own ADC high and dry if you're using it on other lanes to assist them. And finally, and most importantly, Shen actually liked Zed at one point in his life, really just showing a bad judgment of character overall by him. But even with all of these potential problems, the link connecting Shen and me has found a way to make it work. Early game, our Shen player loves to look for invades with his team. He commonly instructs his team to walk to bottom brush or somewhere else on the map that the enemy is not expecting. Shen is one of the only champions at level 1 that can hard CC multiple enemies, and because of this, he is one of the most potent invade champions. And do note that many times when a champion is out of reach, he will taunt flash instead. You'll see this throughout many replays in this analysis, but similar to Gragas's body slam, you can first taunt as Shen, and then flash with good timing to activate the taunt from a further range. This is a core mechanic he uses throughout the game to catch enemies off guard. At higher levels of play, your enemies may start expecting this, meaning that sometimes he can even bait out their flash by just taunting toward them. At level 1, even if he doesn't invade, he is picking up Shen's E ability or Shadow Dash. He maxes his ability second because even at level 1, Shadow Dash will taunt enemies hit for 1.5 seconds. When the lane just starts, he's typically just staying back and looking to peel off any potential aggressors from his ADC. You really need more than just your Shadow Dash if you want to be the one engaging, so until he hits level 2 or 3, he's just chilling out unless someone overextends too far. You should know that Shadow Dash can also go over walls and will refund some of the energy cost if you hit any enemy with it. At level 2, he grabs Shen's Q or Twilight Assault. This ability repositions Shen's Spirit Sword to his location, slows enemies it passes through, and buffs Shen's next 3 auto attacks to do bonus percentage health damage as well. He always aims to pull the sword through enemies when fighting because the auto attack steroid increases in potency and will give him an attack speed buff. This ability makes Shen support so good against other tank supports and has some surprising burst in lane even at level 2. When using Q, your sword travels pretty quickly, but the link connecting Shen and me likes to position his sword around the middle of the lane, so when he chooses to activate it or he needs to use Q to get a little extra shield from his passive, it's close to instantaneous. Knowing where his sword is and having having good sword control is another way he has raised the skill ceiling on a champion who is otherwise pretty straightforward. Let's also quickly talk about Shen's passive. After an ability completes, so like when your sword finishes traveling from your Q or at the end of your taunt or when the zone from your W subsides, Shen will gain a small shield on a flat 10-second cooldown. This ability can be reduced further if the ability used affects at least one champion. So as long as you're hitting your Q and E or at least one allied champion is within your W zone, you can get 2 or 3 shields in a fight depending on what level you are. So be aware that this extra health you gain, especially on support Shen, can mean the difference between life and death in a fight for you. At level 3, he takes Shen's W or Spirit's Refuge. When this ability is activated and an allied champion is near it, including yourself, it makes an area where all auto attacks will be blocked. Being against ADCs in the bot lane, you can tell why this can be so strong on a support. Many carries have auto attack steroids that can be completely negated with this move. Caitlyn's headshot, Jin's 4th auto attack, Invades' 3rd auto attack are just a few examples of what can be negated. Others who use auto attacks to produce ability effects like Leona's stun or Udyr's stun can also be completely negated. Comboing with Shen isn't too crazy and is pretty straightforward. One option is if your sword is behind an enemy, is to first use your Q, slowing their movement and enabling you to catch up to them, gap close and taunt them with your E, keeping them still for a second and a half for you and your team to do more damage to them, and then use your enhanced 3 auto attacks to do additional damage to them. Similar but slightly different would be to taunt an enemy if they're already in your range, then pull your Q through them to slow them and activate your 3 enhanced auto attacks, and then do those 3 enhanced auto attacks to apply more damage. Take note that I didn't mention using W here because if you're tanky enough or the enemy dies, you may not need to use it in the combo at all. Sometimes it's best to just save it since it's on such a low cooldown if you're at no risk of dying. Finally, at level 6, he levels up Shen's signature ability, his ultimate or Stand United. The usage of this ability is what separates all good Shen players, especially our player today. He is constantly looking at the minimap and the health on champion portraits above the minimap. He also uses F1 to F5 keys to keep track of what is happening around the map. This ability makes roaming a cinch and can really help push his mid or top lane ahead. He's mostly looking for value on these ultimates, so for an example, if he can stop his top lane from dying, and that will also result in his team getting Rift Herald, he's getting 2-for-1 value. This ability alone raises the skill ceiling again for Shen supports because you have to be aware of when you can turn a fight in your favor or when your teleporting will instead mean 2 kills for the enemy instead of 1. He plans wisely and even sometimes uses it on someone who is right next to him if that means the shield will keep them alive. Just be sure not to use your ultimate next to someone who can stop you unless you want to apply the shield and not teleport at all. Mid-game as Shen support, similar to Poppy support, he transitions from being more aggressive to becoming more of a peel support for your important carries. He's still looking for key ultimates around the map, but beyond that, has some great ability to negate and slow down enemies from trying to hop on his ADC or other damage dealers. He's more passive and either lets the enemy team be the aggressor or instead lets someone else on his team engage and function as follow-up CC with his taunt. If there's no other form of CC on his team, he may need to become the primary engage. Even so, unless he has flash up or his team is very far ahead, he typically still lets the enemy team come to him first. He's too fragile to always be engaging unless he has a solid lead or can land a crazy taunt with flash. When he teamfights as Shen, many of the same rules apply. His main objective is still to peel and protect his carries. Using his tankiness to become the center of attention and distract the enemy team can mean that they can waste all of their ultimates and cooldowns on him while his carries go untouched. In this fight that we're watching on screen right now, Ashe and Swain both blow their ultimates alongside Zoe using everything she can on him. All the while, Lucian and his teammates on the other side of the river are completely safe from these key abilities, resulting in them being able to turn aggressive and chase the enemies down for a 4-for-1 teamfight win. And being able to absorb the initial damage is important. There are many occasions where he will take the brunt of the punishment up front and then go and sneakily go back to base for a full heal, saving his ultimate the whole time to re-enter what the enemy thinks to be an even or advantageous teamfight just for him to come back with full health and turn the tides of battle. This can be even more effective when he has Baron buff to teleport home quicker. And finally, here's a good example of using his taunt as a follow-up CC only once the teamfight has started. He waits for someone to make a move, ally or foe, until Camille jumps in to get started. He uses his taunt to stop the Fed Jax from pursuing any further, and then his W to negate all of his follow-up auto-attack damage, and allowing his team to focus down Jax, effectively winning the team fight to then secure Baron and the game. Some quick tips and tricks for Shen support. First off, you can not only block enemy champions' auto attacks, but also minions and monsters as well. So you can use it to help your team stay healthier while doing Dragon, Baron, or while tanking lane minions. Most of the time when you use your ultimate as Shen, you want to teleport where you're going, but sometimes you just need to give someone a shield. If that's the case and you have a champion on your team that can displace Shen like Trundle's Pillar or Anivia's Wall, your team can cancel your own team's teleport. Just don't use this to troll your poor Shen players. And one final Shen ultimate tip is that you can use Stand United on an invisible teammate and you will not reveal them. This can equal some pretty gross double ganks that an enemy literally won't see coming. For his build, he starts every game off with steel shoulder guards. He'll then start to build his boots, typically favoring boots of lucidity in most situations, but building merc treads or ninja tabby if the enemy is stacked with one type of damage. Next, he primarily builds his mythic item, always going for a locket of Iron Solari. Like other tanky supports, he now treats Anathema's chains as a core, and most typically will build towards a Knight's Vow after that. Other items that could work here as well are potentially a Thorn Mail or even a Redemption in the right circumstances. If the game goes long or he needs some more oomph in his build, he'll buy an Elixir of Iron, and for his 6th item, and throughout the whole game as a good support does, he's buying Control Wards to win the Vision game, and potentially building a Ward Stone if the game goes very late. For his runes, he takes Aftershock for tankiness, Shield Bash for synergy with his passive, Second Wind or Bone Plating depending on the matchup, and Overgrowth as well. He also brings Cheap Shot for more burst damage early game, and Ultimate Hunter. For his flex runes, he brings Ability Haste, either Armor or Magic Resist depending on his opponents, and Scaling Health. Support Shen works well with ADCs with CC like Jhin or Jinx, or ADCs with good all-in potential like Tristana or Samira. Shen support struggles against poke supports like Bel'Kaz and Xerath, and ADCs with long range like Caitlyn or Ashe. Thank you guys for checking out this support Shen video. I hope it helps you pick up a new champion or at least give one a shot. We did Xerath support last week, so go see that video if you have interest. Also leave me a like and subscription, that helps the channel grow so much more than you could imagine. And also in the links below you can find our Discord server and talk with like-minded folk, or find my Twitch stream where I stream every Tuesday and Thursday. See you guys in the next video. Peace.